Hello everyone, this video will show you how to set up Horton's gym for yourself. Now we'll come back to the Hortonworks homepage to get the Sandbox, but let me show you a quick site Emil Simmons, the developer of this demo, put together. We'll want to go to HadoopWrangler.com and scroll down, and you'll want to go to the first paragraph and get all the downloads. Now what we're going to do after we've done the downloads, we're going to go to Hortonworks home site, and we're going to actually go to Get Started and Get Sandbox, and we're going to download the appropriate virtual machine for our virtual player. We've got three options here. So I'm going to click here. We'll fill out the information, accept terms, and hit submit, and the download will start. We'll have to validate our company. And from there, the download starts. It will produce an OVA file downloaded at 7.5 gigabyte. Now that we downloaded the OVA file for the Sandbox, we can go ahead and import it into our virtual player. So I've got VMware Fusion. I'll hit import. I'll select the 2.3 OVA. The first time you do this, you'll need to do file. You'll need to choose your file. I'll hit continue, and I'm going to actually call this Horton's Gym, and we'll go ahead and save it that way, and it'll start the import. Now you can go get a cup of coffee. When it's done, I'll restart. Okay, the import of the virtual machine is complete. You can see that we're running about 8 gigabytes of a RAM in this virtual machine, and we've actually got 4 virtual CPUs running. So if I hit finish, I will go ahead and let the virtual machine start. I'm not going to record the whole thing here, but you'll see services starting, and I'll start back up in just 1 second. So we're approaching the end of the startup. You can see all the Hadoop services for the Hortonworks data platform starting. And as soon as this is complete, we're going to, there we go, we're going to need to capture the IP of this virtual machine. Okay, so let's go ahead and take that IP 172.16, 155, 185, and let's make sure that our local Mac Etsy host has the value in it. So we're going into VI on Etsy hosts on our local Mac. And what we're going to do, I've already got it in here, but if you didn't, you'd have to add this line and make sure that you have a short name associated with that IP of Sandbox and a fully qualified name of sandbox.hortonworks.com. So that's real important. So we'll go to the Apache Tomcat page, and we'll click on the Tomcat 7.0. Here I'm just going to stick with the same version. I'll go to Archives, and I believe our demo script shows us to do the 7.059 release, so we'll go to bin. What you want to do is click on bin, and we really just want to scroll down and grab tar.gz. So Apache Tomcat 7059 tar.gz. Let's go ahead and download that. Okay, so I moved the download that we just did into a temp directory under downloads. That's actually where I have all the files that we're working with here today for the demo. From there, I'm going to go ahead and copy it over to my home directory. So I'm in the home directory. I'll just go run a quick copy of that file, Apache to home. So now in my home directory, we should have it, and we sure do. There it is, Apache Tomcat. So what we need to do in the home directory is we need to do gunzip Apache Tomcat 7.0.59 tar.gz, and then we need to unzip it with a tar command. So we'll do xvf, tar-xvf, Apache Tomcat 7.0.59.tar, and we've got the directory we're looking for now. So we need to change into the Tomcat directory and immediately go into web apps. And from here, what we need to do is just remove everything in there. Now let's copy the root war file into this directory, okay? So we'll copy we'll just move it over, make sure it's there. Okay, we're in great shape. We'll come back and start up Tomcat a little bit later in the video. Okay, so let's use Apache Ambari to go look at the Hortonworks data platform Sandbox. I'm going to log, this is port 8080 off of Sandbox in my browser, and I'm using admin as the user ID and admin as the password. That's ADMIN. When I log in, I'll get to the dashboard, and I just want to make sure that we have checks for the services that get started up by default, and especially the Hive service. We're going to need all of these up and running to continue. Now what we want to do is now SSH into the Hortonworks Sandbox. So I'll do that with the root ID. I'm going to use the IP that we originally wrote down, 172.15, or I'm sorry, 172.16, 155, 185. And I need to say HADOOP, Hadoop, all lowercase. And I'll just do a CD to make sure I'm in my root directory. And I'll actually clone, I'm going to go ahead and clone the HDP Demo Studio GitHub using the command you see on the screen. Now when I hit enter, it will bring down the GitHub directly into my root user home directory. I can change into that directory and see that I have a complete download of that GitHub. So now what we're going to do is edit the install.sh script, which will be running next. So what we want to do is open it up with VI. We want to scroll down, remove the comment on the wget for ant, and remove the comment for the tar for that same download. We also want to remove the comment for yum install -y npm. We do not want to remove the comment for Zeppelin. That'll be for a future demo. We actually have a clean Maven assembly going on. We're communicating with the Ambari server to make sure services are started for us that are going to be important for the demo. We do not want to, again, uncomment this Zeppelin build section, and we also don't want to uncomment the Tomcat section that you see here. Keep in mind, we're inside the Hortonworks Sandbox now, which is hosted on our Mac, and we have already moved Tomcat to the local Mac, so it's not necessary to have Tomcat inside the Hortonworks Sandbox. So let's skip that. Let's do uncomment the banana GitHub clone, and that's it. Let's go ahead and save this, and let's go ahead and run it. Now this will take about 5 minutes, so please enjoy a nice cup of coffee, and we'll be right back. Okay, hope you enjoyed that cup of coffee. We're back after about 5 minutes. The log from install.sh should end similar to the one you see on the screen with a build success message. You should have had several of those throughout the log. It tells us to run a new script that was just built called createapp.sh. But before we do that, we're going to need to go back over to the Ambari, and we're going to need to actually log back in because we did some restarts. So remember, admin as the user ID, admin as the password, all lowercase, ADMIN. We'll sign back in. And looking at the dashboard, we're going to need to make sure that our services are up and running. The one that I'd like for you to make sure you check out is whether or not the MySQL is up and running or not. If it's not, which here in this case we are up and running, but if it's not, just click here, scroll down to any of the services and restart them. And as an example, for this one, you could just come down and do a restart here. But again, I want you to check those services to make sure everything's green before you continue, or could have problems with the build. Okay, so in this case, what we're going to do is we're actually going to type in the command that it says. We have to provide options. There's 3 options with the HDP 2.3 build. So for this script, createapp.sh, there's first we have to say what app we're building. So we're going to build Horton's Gym. We're going to use a properties file. What's new with 2.3 is we're going to add another parm for where our Java is resident on the sandbox. And we're also going to add a new parm for solar home. So with all that in, we hit enter and it should go through, execute the script with success, and it should be able to create the Horton's Gym app. Okay, so let's edit the startup script for the Horton's Gym app that we just built. We need to do a VI from the current directory into apps, Horton's Gym, and it's start.sh. So what we need to do is scroll down, and at the time of this video recording, I actually needed to add in, right before the solar restart, I do an insert. So we're going to add the following lines to this start.sh script. We're going to need to cd into the banana directory. We're going to set up Java Home with these 2 lines. We're going to actually run ant to build the banana war, and we'll copy that banana war over to the appropriate directory here. We'll also copy the banana context file over to the solar server contexts directory. Let's move that out a little bit so you can see that a little better. And then we'll do a cd back to the primary HDP demo studio directory. Hoping that's already in your start.sh by the time you start this, but if not, please add those in. Now on the storm topology, to set this up for the sandbox, we're going to actually add /root /*, and then we're actually going to remove everything over to the dash. Okay, and one more change. We're going to go out to commit equal true, and we're going to change that to commit equal false. This is a performance change just for the sandbox because we don't want to overtax the sandbox with commits within the storm topology. So we have to do insert again, say false, escape, and remove true, and that's all we really need to do. Now before we can run start.sh to deploy the topology and start the banana dashboard, we actually need to make sure that the storm topology jar is located in the root directory on our sandbox, and that is the root user directory on our sandbox. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to actually start up another shell script, an iTerm, and we're actually going to change directories to my downloads directory. I've actually created a temp /2.3 there. And if we take a look, what we need to do is SCP from this local Mac, Hortonworks, gem, storm.jar, over to root at 172.16.155.185:root. Now that'll move the jar. I do have to type Hadoop in all lowercase for my password, and the jar moves over. Okay, that's great. So let's just go make sure I'll SSH over. Type in Hadoop and change directories and do an ls, and there we go. Okay, so we're in great shape. Now that the jar's there, all we need to do is run this start script for Horton's gem. Now I'll hit enter, and when this is done, we'll actually take a look at the end of the log and continue forward. Okay, so the start.sh script, which started the banana dashboard for us in the sandbox, and also deployed the storm topology, has completed. And we can see that through the log. Now, what we want to do is click back on the Ambari GUI and go down to storm, and just make sure that our storm topology is out there and it's running. And sure enough, there it is, and we're in great shape. So we've got storm topology running. We can see all the bolts and the sprouts started. Now let's go ahead and start up the local dashboard on our Mac. If you recall, we set up Apache Tomcat. So let's move into that directory. And let's go ahead and start the web app. The way we're going to do that, I'm going to use root privilege, and I'll start Catalina sh.start. Now that should have started up the web app that we need to work with locally on our Mac to start to receive heartbeats. So let's look at that real quick. We want to type in localhost 8080, and this should be the screen that we should be looking at. We'll go on to the heart rate screen. So go ahead and start up Horton's Gem on your iPhone, and the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to get this pop-up because the Horton's Gem iPhone app coordinates or integrates with the health kit that's already on your iPhone. So you need to say, yes, I'm going to allow these two to integrate, and you do allow Horton's Gem to read data from heart rate. So you say, okay, we're done. It'll pop back up. Just go ahead and accept steps as well, and you're done. Okay, the next screen I'm going to show you on the Horton's Gem app on your iPhone is the server tab. You click on the Hadoop icon on the bottom of your iPhone app, and here we're going to type in HTTP://. Now we need to add an IP and a port here so that the Horton Gem, as it collects data from HealthKit, can then send the data to the dashboard running Kafka here. So let's go ahead and show you how to do that. You can, on my local Mac, that's where my dashboard's running. It's actually connected to the network. So I'm going to show you how it's connected via Wi-Fi. It's connected to this port on Wi-Fi. So my iPhone app should be able to get to that port as well. So I'll say 10.0.172:8080. You'll need to supply, if you're connected to a Wi-Fi with your MacBook Pro, you'll need to use that IP instead of the 172 IP I've showed you here. Now, what we also do is we just back up and take this long user string identifier and just put a different label in there. We can say me. So that'll be important. I'll show you in a second. Now, just if you still are not sure, you want to verify that you've got the right IP and port. A quick way to do that on your iPhone. Now, your iPhone needs to be connected to Wi-Fi as well. Is go over to Safari on your iPhone and just go ahead and search for http:10.0.0.172:8080, and you should get the same app you see in the background. If that happens, okay, we're in great shape. So let's go ahead and knock out of there. That proves we've got connectivity. Let's go ahead and on the iPhone, let's go over to the heart rate app. Here with the heart rate health kit, what we need to do is we need to go to health data on the health kit, and we type in heart, and there we go. There's heart rate. Now this is an entry screen. So basically, what we're doing is we're simulating adding heart rate data. So this is a heart rate simulator, okay? So if I just type in 99 and hit add, what we'll see is on the dashboard, we actually see the data showing up. So as I add data points, 88, that's not that heartbeat down to 88, you can see that it continues to show up on the dashboard. So that's the first point of integration. Health Kit to Horton's Gym iPhone app, Horton's Gym iPhone app sending the data down to our Tomcat app. And now the way we can see that in Tomcat is all we have to do is go to validate it's all working, just go look in the logs. So if we do a tail -f and we say .logs Catalina.out, we should on the local Mac be able to see our log. And if we go over and add another data point, let's say 100, not only will we see it on the dashboard, but we'll start to see the JSON data get sent to Kafka. So that's a way you can test as well that things are working. Now there's another ultimate test. Now we want to go into the sandbox, and we actually want to see the data going into Storm as well. Now obviously we have the Storm dashboard, but let's look at it behind the scenes as well, just to prove that we've got everything set up correctly. So what I'll do is I will move some things around here so we can see. I'll go ahead and SSH into as root into 172.16.155.185. That's the port for our sandbox. And I'll use Hadoop lowercase as my password. And I'm just going to go into var log storm. And sure enough, I should have a Horton's Gym. Here we go. We can see it here. I have a Horton's Gym log. And so what I'll do is I'll do the same thing. Tail F, Horton's Gym. Let's go ahead and type the whole thing out. -1-14 394.86 118 worker 6701.log. So if I can get the tail going there, I've got the storm topology log, and it'll continue to spill out as data comes through. And I've also got the Tomcat log. So let's kind of take a look at both. Let's add another data point just to see if our data is flowing all the way in to Storm. So let's go ahead and say 89, hit add. And as we can see, the data went into the Kafka dashboard. It showed up on the dashboard, and it was sent all the way through into Storm. So very easy way to test, okay? Now, the other thing you can see on your iPhone simulator app, let me just go back to the home page there and swing over to Horton's Gym. We'll go back. You can see the data coming in through here. Make sure you've got tracking location on. So the last couple features we want to show you are how to set up the banana dashboard, and also how to add a PPML model. So let's just do that real quick. Back on the main web page, if we back up one using the back arrow, we could actually come over, and here we can load. We need to load a banana dashboard, JSON dashboard that we brought down originally. Okay, so that'll set us all up with a dashboard, and you can work through this, and as you add data it will show up here, and geolocation will show up down here. There's more information here that I'll let you go through. If you notice on the config, the solar should now be pointing to Sandbox, to an HR collection. Okay, one other piece, if we go back, we could add a PPML model. Now sometimes when you come in here it'll be blank, but if you just go ahead and pull in the original PPML model, I've already opened it. This is the one we downloaded. I'll say edit, copy, and then really if we go back here and we just do a paste, and then let's do a reload. That should set up the icons that flash on the heartbeat screen to change colors if you're over a threshold. So I believe this one's over 120 or 89. So you'll see as you enter data how that works. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this demo.